Right, good morning YouTube. Now, I've been asked so many times to do a full day in the life, a rest day, a training day, or what does a 50-year-old man that's been into fitness for all of his life, coaches thousands of clients now, what does he actually do? And what is the actual BS and the hype that people perhaps do and is not worth your time? So after doing this job for 30 years, I've learned from actual studies, as well as working with clients, as well as myself, and what actually works, what moves the needle, what's a bit of a gimmick, what wastes your time. Now, over the years, I've been sponsored by so many fantastic companies, but I've always stuck with a company for as long as that company could last. So I've never been one of these guys, as I built my career and won Mr. Universe, is that jumped from one supplement company to another with the better deal. What I'd rather do is find a company I trusted in, actually used myself, and then worked with them for many years until that company's directions or their sponsorship to athletes did change. And that happened over a few years, but I've probably worked with 5 very good companies over 30 years. And when I started, I thought sponsorships would mean that you've made it. It's your career's made it, you're a sponsored athlete, you're gonna have a salary, it's gonna pay for your mortgage. That may have been the case going back 20 years or so. When I became Mr. Universe for the first time, companies threw their sponsorships at me or offered those. Nowadays, it doesn't matter what titles you get or how great you are in this sport of bodybuilding. It matters how many followers and how much engagement you get. And I understand, because I used to have a supplement company myself. I've also worked in Harley Street for a supplement company in the UK. And really, if we're giving products away to people, then what are you getting back in return? And just because you've won a competition or you're fantastic in a field, if the majority of what you're doing isn't being seen, how does anyone benefit from that? So nowadays it's about having followers, and I get that. It's about business. I'm older, I understand how it works. So I want to show you the companies that I have used, still use, and the products that I use from those companies over the course of a day. And I know a lot of my clients will think, wow, that's a lot of supplements, or it isn't, or I take more than that than perhaps I do. This is what I actually do, and hopefully it'll help support any of you younger guys coming up and getting stuck with the hype, the peptides, some of the older guys that are stuck with thinking it's all about TRT and hormones. It's really about lifestyle first, and we are forgetting the basics in life. So listen, lifestyle has got to trump everything, because no matter what you layer in on top, it's really not going to work very well unless the foundations are set. Now, you can have the most fantastic icing to go on your cake if you're a baker, but if you haven't got the basics of a cake to build, what is the point there? And that's really where we need to look at whether you're trying to fix your hormones. TRT will not work unless you fix the lifestyle that has created the imbalance in your hormones in the first place. Otherwise, it's just trying to swim upstream. Or it'll be like farting in a gale. Like, the effects are going to be very minimal. And what we want is the best start point and setup to allow any supplement, peptide, or hormone to have an effect. So after 30 years of working in this industry, and loving what I do, I'm still coaching now. And I've got a team of guys that work for me now in the UK. I opened a business coaching in Dubai as well about 5 or 6 years ago. So I managed coaches there too, but I still coach 25 people because I love the return of what the job does give back to me as a coach. And it really can change lives. But I see all the time with clients and people I speak to in the gym, where they're wasting time fruitlessly because it's on TikTok or it's on the social platform and it's the hype for now, and forgetting some of the basics. Now, the most important information for you guys to know is when is the best time to train, what the best cardio to do, what is the type of training I should do, what's the best food to eat or the supplement to take. And the answer to all of that is really the same. And initially, the best advice to any of those questions is the one that you're most likely to adhere to stick to be consistent with. Now, if there was a true cheat code in this sport of getting in great shape and feeling healthy, feeling like you're 30 when you're actually like me and you're 50, it would be consistent. That's the takeaway after 30 years. But there are some fantastic things that have moved forward, and you have to move forward as anyone wants to progress in life, but certainly in coaching. Now, at my age of 50, I've started coaching when some of the OGs in coaching did as well. And some have moved with the times and worked with science and evidence, data and tracking, as I have. Others are still stuck in the ways of eat tins of tuna and plain baked potatoes, no sauce, no seasoning, just go hardcore. That really used to work fantastically well because it was the only way to do it. But nowadays, people aren't hard enough. They're not tough. We haven't got a tough society. I've got 2 kids. My 2 kids are brought up solely by me. Unfortunately, their mother passed away. And so I've tried to instill some actual work ethic into my boys and some hard knocks, because life gives you hard knocks. But even today, with the schools they go to and the way life is, they're very limited with really having hard knocks in life. And then the society that we now coach and the people we speak to have got it too easy. They don't know one really wants to work hard or struggle or suffer. Why should we suffer? And the reason why you should is some of that's fantastic. It really builds heart, builds emotion, builds actually the reason, the win for getting to that end result. If it was so easy, and today, if you can't get in shape, I must say this, if you can't get in shape today with meal prep companies that send you fantastic meals to your address once or twice a week, you haven't got to cook them, they're affordable. And I use meal prep. I use Prep King. If you want to use them, my code is Neale10. They'll save you 10% on your orders, and their meals are great. They're fantastic. Got no seed oils, no processed artificial ingredients. All the meat's halal. The portions are weighed out exactly as I would ask my clients to have. And their portions don't diminish over the months and months of you using them. Like some companies will lower the protein and you get small portions and you're getting a low calorie meal, but there's not enough protein in it, and they put more fat in than we'd like. Prep King doesn't do that. The Prep King have got great clean ingredients. There's nothing in there that will cause a gut distension or bloat, which other companies will use seed oils or perhaps seasonings that can do that. And they're convenient. They make life really easy. And I'd be lying if I said I don't use them, because I do. I love Prep King. I use at least 2 or 3 meals out of my 6 meals that I still eat at 50 years of age today, because they're convenient, and we live in a world of fast-paced life. I can do back-to-back calls all day once I bring the kids back from school, right through till 10 o'clock at night, and that's typical. I might not even have a break layered in those calls because they're every hour. Boom, 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 5 hours of calls since I get straight back from school. But there'll be a call or 2 that runs 10 to 15 minutes short or starts a little later, and I can quickly grab a Prep King meal, eat it cold, whack it in the microwave in 2 minutes. I can eat that meal in 5 to 10 minutes without having to then put together a meal or think about it. So in those times, it's fantastic. It's additionally fantastic when I travel. Now I travel a lot to see clients. I travel over to Dubai to see my coaching business there. And I will take Prep King meals when I travel. Everywhere you go, it's so easy. If I go out in the car now and I know I'm going around the M25, could be stuck in traffic. The M25 does that to you all the time. I'll always take a meal in a cool bag with an ice block. I've actually got a Range Rover with an ice, what's the word for it? With a cool box plugged into the boot. So I'll always throw them in there. If I'm not in the Range Rover and I've got another car, I'll stick it in a cool box. Now, if you don't like eating your food cold, life's even easier for us softies, because you can buy on Amazon for like £15 a lunchbox that will heat your meal. Now they come battery operated, or you can plug them into your car lighter or plug them in at home. When you're in hotels, I use them all the time, because you won't get a microwave in a hotel room, but you can plug this in. You can plug your cool box in that I've had in the back of the Range Rover. So you've got a fridge in your room, you've got a cooker in your room. Your rooms will generally in a hotel come with a kettle, so you can make a bowl of rice Krispies then, but you can make a bowl of what's the word for it? Hold on. Cream of rice. I don't know where that went, but it's 6 a.m. in the morning, so did lose my thought. So add some hot water to cream of rice, take some whey with you, there's your breakfast. You haven't got to eat a terrible breakfast choice from the hotel, or take some oats and go old school. No one eats oats anymore because they're too slow to digest. But oats are fantastic as well. Whatever sits well with your digestion is good for you. It's good for me if I was your coach. That's, you know, what you're going to stick to, what you enjoy. If you don't like the texture of cream rice or it's too sweet, I agree, it's fucking horrible. So I do have cream rice for fast digestion at times prior to training and so on, but I think it's too sweet, and I think there's quite a lot of artificial sweetener in cream rice. So I will use plain rice flour, and then I'll use like a 60-40 split, because rice flour tastes of zip, nothing. But it's pure rice flour, no flavourings, no sweeteners, no artificial nothing. It's a kilo of it is about £2, so it's 10 times less the price than what you'd get from a bag of cream of rice, which is just glorified rice flour. And I would use, you know, like maybe a scoop of rice flour and a scoop of cream of rice to give it a little bit of a flavour without it being too sweet and sickly, which they all are. And if you're going to buy a cream of rice at home, because they're all the hype and everyone uses them, please don't buy any dark chocolate flavours or chocolate banana or chocolate anything, because they're fucking terrible. If you're going to buy one, go for the most plain, boring flavour like vanilla or coconut or something light, because then if you add any berries or toppings or whatever, you'll still give it some variety, diversity and flavour, and you'll get some good antioxidants, but you won't get sick of it. And the chocolate one, like some of the flavours sound like they're going to serve all your cravings without any fat or guilt, but they're disgusting, trust me. That's 30 years of trying stuff, and that's hopefully going to save you wasting your money. Now, as a side note, I just threw out a cream of rice, and I'm going to have to tell you this, but I've used different companies' cream of rices. I used Trained by JP, and their flavour, they do a white chocolate coconut, it's very good. They do a blueberry pancake, which I thought would be fantastic. Love pancakes, who doesn't? It's fucking vile. I mean, vile. When you make it, it turns like an luminous blue, which is off-putting enough because there's some unnatural colours in there. And it just tastes like battery acid, disgusting. Don't buy that. Sorry, JP, but I don't know where that flavour comes from. The other flavours he does, vanilla, white coconut, are great. They're a go-to. That's what I'd suggest. Being honest, keeping it pretty transparent, but listen, there's a lot of BS online, so hopefully this helps. Now, going forward from the Prep King and talking about cream of rice, what do I do first thing in the morning when I'm not spending 20 minutes waffling? This is what I do. So I'll always wake up about 5:36 because I've got 2 kids. They've got to go to school. They start earlier than normal kids at school because they go to a nice school in St Albans, which is not near my house, which is annoying, but it's a great school and it's worth it for the kids. Now, because of that, I have to get up at 5:30. We need to leave at 7:30 in the morning to get them to school for 8:15. So it's an earlier school run than just walking your kids around the block. And there's always traffic. So I get up at 5:30. Why? Now, I choose to get up at 5:30 because I think morning fasted cardio is the go for fat loss, for mental health, for putting yourself in a state of mind that you've already done one good deed at the very start of your day, more than just making your bed, that's going to hopefully roll into you getting fantastic other great deeds for the day. Now, if I do cardio in the morning, which I actually enjoy, which is odd because I do hate cardio, but I like my morning fasted cardio because it's on an exercise bike. Now, I've got a treadmill behind me here. That's to get additional steps through the day. Because I'm working back-to-back calls, I haven't got a chance to go out for a long walk. Now, if you can get a long walk in, first thing in the morning, get some sunlight, that's going to really greatly set up your mindset, your dopamine, your health, your movement for the day. And if you're one of those people that wants some movement down in the back door department in the morning, sometimes getting some movement in the morning will start to stem things off. So you can go to work feeling fresh and clean, and who doesn't like that? Okay, so more on that later on, but what I'd like to say is that cardio in the morning for me has been a staple for 30 years. And I think it's great because if I do that in the day, I'm going to make clear, right mindset choices for the rest of the day. I'm not going to feel lazy. I've lied in bed. I've overslept. I'm now behind for the rest of the day. I didn't get a chance to make my breakfast or have a breakfast. And I forgot to grab my lunch out of the fridge. So now I'm eating in McDonald's, which is what a lot of people do. Or they just don't eat at all. And then they eat far too much when they get home. So getting up early, getting that morning cardio done, doing some core work, doing some breathing work. And I think doing core work on an empty stomach as well, post cardio, is fantastically beneficial because you've got no food in your belly. You shouldn't be eating through the night unless you're a secret lemonade drinker. You know. But if you're not snacking in the night, you're going to be empty in the stomach. You're going to burn more calories from fat because you've got no stored food to use as fuel. Now, there's a lot of science goes back and forward on this, and cardio is cardio no matter when you do it, and I agree. But I do also think that doing it when you're in a non-nourished state and you've got no energy reserves floating in your bloodstream from the food you've eaten, it's much more likely to have to tap into body fat, which is stored energy that you have in ample supply, I'm sure, to use to fuel your cardio. It makes sense. Something I've done for 30 years, it's always stood me in great shape. I've never got out of shape and I've always been known to be lean. And I think cardio is great for that. It's also, as we get older, important for heart health, for lung health, but push the cardio. I don't mean just like walk the dog and let it piss every 5 minutes. That's not cardio. You need to get the heart going, the blood pumping. You need to at least be going at a pace where you're out of breath and you can't speak in perfect sentences if someone was speaking to you while you're doing it because you're out of breath. Now, if any of my guys that have had a voice note from me early in the morning, and my clients will hear me out of breath because I'll be doing it while I'm on the bike. So yes, multitask. The reason I like the bike is because you can get your heart rate up. You haven't got to move about too much because sometimes we're tired, even me in the morning. And you can multitask and get some work done. Catch up with emails, send voice notes. If you want to look at bloody Instagram like the world does when it wakes up, there's a time to waste time doing it. Or download a movie, watch an episode of your favourite series. But it's very easy for you to multitask on because you're not running up a set of stairs like on a Stairmaster first thing in the morning. Although the Stairmaster is great, but we'll talk about that later in the day. However, that's what I would do first, then do your core work with an empty stomach. You can't contract your abs or pull a vacuum if you've got a belly full of food. Doing it first thing in the morning for 15 minutes after your cardio is well worth it. Now, I actually broke my back 20 years ago. I had a motorbike, used to be into sports bikes, had a GSXR 750, loved it. Went straight into a car, went straight through the windscreen of the car, smashed my helmet in half, and I was paralysed from the neck down. So I was in hospital, I couldn't move anything for about 2 years, apart from my eyes. It was a very hard time, and it was probably the worst thing I could ever imagine I would like to go through. However, I was very idle, like-minded, strong-minded. I couldn't see this being the end. But it was touch and go, and many, many days and weeks passed, and the nurses would pinch my toe or my finger and ask, could I feel it? And I couldn't move anything but my eyes. And eventually I slowly got movement back, thank God. I do think I'm blessed. And if I had 9 lives, I must have used 7 or 8 of them by now in 50 years. And honestly, I have. If you know me, you'd know that. But I came back from that. I had to learn to walk again. I had all my arms rebuilt with plates and titanium rods. If I go through any airline to fly, my kids will tell you, I'm always stopped. I always set off for scanners. But I can function again. But it took a long time. It took loads of rehab. It was a slow, steady step, like 2 years to learn to re-walk again. Now, obviously, being bedbound, not moving a muscle, I've lost all my muscle. I've trained for 30 years. This happened about 20 years ago. I used to be a natural bodybuilder, competed with the AMBF, which was a natural federation, competed in Muscle Mania, represented the UK. Being natural for life was me. I was that guy. Unfortunately, the motorbike accident changed everything. Now, for me at that time, the thought of bodybuilding, competing, which was everything for the first 10 years of my kind of career in the sport, and doing it as healthy as I can is always and still is paramount. But I was a natural bodybuilder and I enjoyed competing at that level on hopefully a level playing field. Although that's controversial, unfortunately people still cheat, but that's what I done. The accident changed everything. I lost all mobility in my arms. I had my hands fused to my wrists. I lost a lot of mobility in my hips and had a lot of operations and a lot of pain. And at that time, I didn't care actually if I could compete again, but I just didn't want to be paralysed for life. So I lost all my muscle, I rebuilt it, but it took about 2 years to learn to walk again, to get movement, to do so much painful rehab on my wrists, on my arms, just to get movement. And that's a journey, and that's very hard, and lots of people don't know that. And what unfortunately I see in this day and age, which I absolutely hate, but no one voices it, or it's very difficult, is social media is a platform where people sit behind a screen or an avatar and just throw out digs at people. For what reason, I do not know. Maybe it makes their shallow, insecure, terrible, pissed off life for a moment slightly happier because they're digging into someone for whatever the reason. Now, I think that's terrible. No one knows anyone's journey. Whether someone's in good shape, great shape, to you is irrelevant because it's what's important to them. They may be in the best shape of their life showcasing it online, and who are you to go on their profile and just stick into them about something? Now, I'm forever getting done and digged out for myself, for the fact that I'm 50, for the fact that I did have a hair transplant, for the fact that I was completely bald, for the fact that I did have pancreatic cancer last year, which I got past, and my eyebrows, this is the best they grow to. This is all they grow to, but any post I do, I'm getting, I ignore it. Like, I'm thick-skinned, I'm 50, who cares? But people will dig me out for these things which, listen, I didn't want to be bald for life. I went to a 50-year-old birthday party, and at that party, and I was 48 at the time, and at that party, everyone that was male at the party around the age bracket looked just like me, bald head, had some sort of beard going on to try and grow because they couldn't grow hair on their head. That's the thing that everyone does at 50. And I looked at everyone and thought, these guys, it's a reflection of myself. It's a reflection of most people in the 50s. Are you at home over 40 years of age? Have you got a bald head and a beard? Drop me a comment below if you have, because listen, that's just the way it goes. But I wanted to challenge that. I wanted to be happy for myself. I wanted not to fit in and be just another 50-year-old guy with a bald head and a beard. And maybe because I've trained for 30 years, I still had some shape, but I still wanted to feel that I was unique to me. So I had a hair transplant. It went pretty well. It's pretty thick. It's been a few years now, but people still dig me out about it. But these people, they're balding themselves. So why? Like, what does it matter to them? How does it change their life? And my point is here, whether you're digging me out about my hairline, the fact that my eyebrows never grew back, how does it improve your life? But because I'm of a certain age, I'm 50, it doesn't really affect me. Although it's affected me enough to tell you here, I get that, before you comment, I know. What affects me isn't how it affects me personally, because I've come back from some issues in life which are bigger than any comment could give. However, I've got kids. Now, my kids are 10 and 14, they're on social media. These are the people that it would really affect. The youngsters, if they're digged out, they haven't got the strength. This is why people are getting to a point where they're ending themselves too early, because they haven't emotionally got the stability or the age or perhaps the wisdom, and it really affects their life. And I think it should somehow be banned. It should be stopped. Don't think social media should, because it's a fantastic way of sharing information. I've built a business from Instagram and from LinkedIn. It's fantastic. Without that, it's, potentially free business marketing. It's, it's organic. But there's a lot of dark sides to everything in life. And I think this is the dark side to social media, is it's affecting people, emotions. And they're comparing themselves to airbrushed photos, videos of people, and now it's almost all AI. It's very difficult to understand, is this guy real or that girl real? Is this AI? I mean, they almost look too flawless that perhaps they are, but I don't know. They've even got accounts. And so it's turning into a world where we're living up to expectations that aren't even real, and it's affecting those, and we're seeing it with people around us. And I'm aware of this because I've got 2 young kids, and as a single dad, I have to bring my kids up on my own. I'm aware how it can affect them, and I'm sure most of you guys at home have got kids or nephews or nieces, and you're seeing how it affects them. I think it somehow needs to be governed. People can't just slate people for no reason. It's a shame that, and I know you can say, okay, set your profile to private, so it's just a shame, in my opinion, that humans can be like this. For what gain? I don't understand what gain they get from it. Anyway, my little social media rant's over. However, so we're moving on to where I started. So we may have to call this video almost full day of eating, and it was just up until breakfast video because it's going to be too long otherwise. And maybe I'll carry the next ones on. But so we start the day. We've gone all the way back to where we started. We're going to start the day. Now, I've got lots of supplements. I've been sponsored, like I mentioned earlier, for years. And I've used lots of supplements. I think supplements are really beneficial. They are the icing on the cake, as I said. But there are a few supplements that I think are fantastic, but they need to serve the purpose. Don't just shotgun every supplement you see online or whatever. Because I've also been sponsored by a peptide company for many years, before peptides became as popular as they are now. And they all sell themselves. Every peptide sounds like it could cure the world. It could cure cancer. It could cure everything. Most of them don't work. Remember, the studies were done on non-humans, mostly mice, and not sanctioned for human consumption. So be mindful of that. They're not actually, there's no science in many cases on most peptides, but there are a few that do help. And this is the same with supplements. Now, with anything you take, whether it's food, supplements, what I've learned in 30 years is it's not what you take. It's the quality of what you take, because it's what you absorb that really matters, what you can uptake. That's what changes the game if you've got the right product in the right formulation that is absorbable and you're taking the right dose, again, as that word I said earlier, consistently. If you can do that, you may see progress or change. So, without further ado, 20 minutes later, this is my morning shake. So every morning, I fill up my Ninja Blast with water, and in it, I put a couple of products. Now, the products I use and love and rave about in my vast cupboard, I know there's lots of supplements in here. So, over the years of being sponsored and using supplements, there's a lot of supplements in there. They've all had a place or a purpose for a time. And these are the ones that I think should be maintained year-round for anyone. These are staples. The first one is Amino Man. Hopefully you can see that. That's their amino collagen. So this is a blend of amino acids, which I think are fantastic. These are the building blocks of muscles. I think amino acids as a supplement, an essential all spectrum amino acid, not a branch chain amino acid, not those, an essential amino acid is better than protein. Yeah, I said it. A protein powder or an amino acid powder, which would I choose? Which would I use year round? Which do I use year round? The amino acid wins for me. Why? Because a protein powder is processed. It's a form of protein, yes, but it's a processed form come from milk, in most cases if it's a whey, no matter what type of whey it is. And you're always going to build more muscle if you can absorb protein from real food, 100%. Your body was designed to break down and digest real food. Something that's very processed, has been stripped of all of its or most of its fat, carbohydrates, vitamins, minerals and so on, like a protein powder, digests rapidly. Some of that gets missed on the uptake. Some of that doesn't absorb. Slow and steady does win the race in most cases. And in diet, I think protein should be eaten from whole foods, ideally to build muscle from animal meat protein, because it contains all the essential amino acids. Now, if you're not eating animal protein, fish is fantastic. If even you was a vegetarian or vegan, you have to find plant-based versions if you can't have any of those that are mentioned, even if you're not eating eggs. But you need to make sure that they've got a full range of essential amino acids. Now, there's 8 or 9 essential amino acids to make a complete protein. With any of them amino acids missing, the protein doesn't absorb and digest. So it's important that you do that. If you don't know how to find these foods, and if you're unsure, if you're a vegetarian or vegan, what to do or what foods to combine in order to get a complete protein, without just eating foods that are too high in fat and ruin your physique, please message me. Drop me a message below, I'll have a look and I'll send you one of my guides over. Listen, I've done this for 30 years. I've wrote over 35 guides on all things from sleep to digestion to bloating to hormones. There's a guide even for you guys on the best food combinations. If you need it, drop me a message and let me know. So, the amino collagen is the best product, in my opinion, on the range from Amino Man. I love this. I go through lots of this and I take 20 grams every morning when I wake up. Why? because it's got all your essential amino acids in. It's got a whopping dose of like collagen peptides in, which are great as we age, to keep us feeling youthful, to help with joint connection, to help with skin. And it's got amino acids and branch chain amino acids in that will help shuttle off and stop catabolism, or your body cannibalizing it from not being fed since last night. Especially if you're going to do fasted cardio like I do, because I want to do fasted cardio for fat loss, but I don't want to eat muscle mass. So doing exercise when you're fasted has a potential to burn calories from fat, but also to burn calories from muscle. We don't want that. And that's why in the morning I would do steady state cardio rather than HIIT. If you do HIIT, the intensity is very high. You're likely to use muscle glycogen as fuel and not just fat source. We want to preserve muscle. Well, I do. If you don't listen to this. Do your HIIT cardio in the morning. But if you want to preserve muscle and lower some body fat, do the exercise bike, because your heart rate is very difficult to get above 120. And for me, that's the sweet spot. You want your heart rate in the morning, in my opinion, somewhere between 60 and 70% of your maximum heart rate, which is the number 220 minus your own age. That should be your maximum heart rate. Then from that number, whatever it may be for you and your age, multiply it, divide it, so you get 60% of that range, and that's where you want to ideally stick to on your cardio. And how long should you do? Well, I do 30 minutes. I don't think everyone should do 30 minutes. I think some people need to do way more. Some people could do less. 30 minutes for me makes me happy. 40 minutes for me makes me feel like I'm getting ready for a competition. And more than 40 minutes for me feels like hell. So if I do 30 minutes daily year round, I don't have to go past 40 minutes ever, because I stay lean enough. If you don't do fasted cardio and you have to do cardio because you're going on holiday, got a wedding, you want to do a competition or photo shoot, you might have to do an hour of cardio. Hell, going back when I started 20 years ago, I'd done an hour of cardio in the morning, an hour of cardio before bed, and another 30 minutes of cardio after I'd done weights every day in the middle of the day. That's 3 lots of sweaty clothes. That's hard work. No one wants to do hard work anymore. And as much as I agree we should get there smarter, it still serves a purpose to work hard and earn the result. So that's my fasted morning drink. So I'll have 20 grams of this, because it also contains electrolytes, which are massively important. But on the note of electrolytes, I think that everyone should buy this. Go on Amazon, treat yourself, it's about 11 quid. And put a very small amount, like a gram or half a gram of this mineral salt into your morning shake as well. Even though Amino Man has an electrolyte range, I like to take more salt, because these are mineral salts. So all your trace minerals that are very difficult to get from your diet. They certainly come in vegetables, and your minerals will come through vegetables and fruits, but no one that generally eats enough of these things. So having that in the morning with this Amino Man, and if you want to order this yourself, go onto their website, aminoman.co.uk, and use code Neale20, and it will save you 20%. Now mix them up in the shaker, and then in the morning I will drink this. Now it tastes very nice, strawberry. Oh, I know you're all at home going chug, 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 but I wanted to split the D. Not the G, the D. Okay, so one there done, and I've had that shake in the morning. That helps with hydration, that helps with me to feel like I'm waking up, and I'm not peeing out battery acid, because we need to hydrate in the morning. We want to have like fairly clear pee for the rest of the day. Sometimes you'll see in the morning that that's not very clear. Getting hydrated will help that. But I don't stop there, which is 400 ml of water. I don't stop there. I'll actually have 2 coffees as well. Now I use a filtered coffee, so let me show you this, because I think coffee is one thing that we all love to use, and one thing that does get missed. And I think that if you are a person that drinks a coffee every morning, listen, I only have 1 or 2 coffees every morning. I don't drink coffee after lunch. I don't think anyone should, if you want to protect and preserve and promote good sleep. But I've been using this from Amazon, it's Mindful Coffee. And this is a fantastic coffee, because yes, it's organic. Get the dark roast, because it's got less irritation issues in it. And it's toxin free, which is in lots of coffees. So You get a very good quality coffee. It's not that cheap, I've got to admit, for coffee. You'll probably look it up online and say, wow, it's pricey. But if you're only having 1 or 2 cups of coffee a day, you don't want, as you get older, anything that causes a flare-up, a digestion issue, a gut inflammation, any of the above. That's massively important for me, because in the year or so gone by, I had SIBO, which is a terrible infection or overgrowth of bacteria in my small intestine, which meant that any food I ate just caused me to bloat. And it made me really deep dive into bloating. And to be honest, as much as it was hell, and it took about 8 months to cure, and at times didn't think I could, saw many specialists or referrals, went back to Harley Street to see doctors. There's only one antibiotic that could have fixed it. I used it. It's got a 50% chance of working. It half worked, and then the SIBO came back. And I had to learn then at that point that you have to rely on your own knowledge. Unfortunately, you know, I studied nutrition like 30 years ago. So I went back to basics and looking at foods that cause irritation, inflammation, fermented foods, foods that you think are great for you, foods that generally are, not if you've got a small intestinal bacteria overgrowth, because it'll just feed that bacteria to get worse. So I needed to starve the bacteria, and that's what I learned. And so from anything, any situation that comes up in life, I've always tried to see the positive. What can you learn from this? How can you use a negative experience but learn from it so that you do have a positive outcome and you can share that with many others? So I researched and worked with other coaches over a couple of years to find out how to fix this. It was ruining my life. Now, a lot of you at home are suffering with bloating. I know you are. I speak to thousands of guys every month, hundreds of guys rather, every month, but I've spoken to thousands and thousands, literally tens of thousands of people about coaching over 30 years. And almost everyone nowadays talks about they're inflamed, they're bloated. They get bloated when they eat, they got IBS issues, they have digestive issues with or without going to the toilet. They might have acid reflux, which is all signs of inflammation and bloating. Maybe you've got sore elbows. Maybe you at home have got sore knees. You go down to pick your kids up, you're like, ugh, making the old man sound when you get up. I've been that guy. That's inflammation. That's initially seen in your body as bloating. Left unchecked, the bloating starts occasionally. Then you're bloated all day anytime you eat, unless you fast. But we can't fast forever, guys. As soon as you eat, you bloat. If you carry on making your bad food choices, lifestyle choices, lack of sleep, high stress life, you get acid reflux. You're not sleeping well because of the acid reflux. That's causing a drive up in stress and cortisol even further, which is now affecting your hormones and dragging down your testosterone. So now you're not only bloated, but you're not sleeping great. You've got low quality life and your hormones are starting to lower. So you're not even getting morning wood. Listen, life's about feeling alive, right? And I know there's loads of you at home that are just like, it's because I'm getting older. It's what happens. We're not as horny when we get older. We don't want to see the missus the same way. Not because we've been with her for 10 years, 20 years, because we're getting older, because we're getting fatter, because we're getting inflamed. Because when body fat comes up and inflammation comes up, hormones go down. You're not the same as you was in your 20s or 30s, because that guy in his 20s or 30s was leaner. He moved more. He didn't have a stressful job. He didn't have to run around for kids. He didn't sit at a desk all day. Now, you might be at home successful in your business, successful financially, but are you truly successful in your life? How do you feel? Have you got the energy to play with your kids or the grandkids? Are you still knocking on your missus every morning? Are you still seeing her in the same eyes, or have you given up? Because I lived 50 years and come through some horrific injuries. As I mentioned, injuries, being paralyzed. Several years later, I broke my back, got 2 herniated discs from doing strongman. I got back from a motorbike accident and I had a new lease of life. I wanted to then take the world on. It took a long time to learn to walk again, but it took many years to learn to train again. And so I started doing strongman. And then as the years went on doing it and getting stronger in it, unfortunately, after getting something I'd enjoyed and feeling like I've got myself back to life, I broke my back doing strongman. So I came back again from that, but you know, in a way, the fortunate side is I knew how to learn to walk again because I'd just done it. But I've got to admit, I can laugh now, but woe is me. At the time, This just seemed unfair and I got depressed. Life was tough and moved forward, had a kid, got divorced, left with my little boy because mum passed away, and I've got another child, and bringing up 2 kids was tiring. Having a bad back, feeling fat, bloated, aggravated is not fun, but it's not fun for your kids when you're not able to do much with them. And so that really woke me up. Like, that was a horrific time for them and me, but I learned how to now be the best dad I could be, and that meant take care of myself. Now, the amount of people I hear and speak to that are too busy trying to be financially stable and look after the family, they don't actually care for themselves, and their health goes down. Now, ask yourself, are you that guy? Have you looked down and seen your old boy for years, or is your belly in the way? Can you see your toes? Start there. If you can't, you probably need to do something about that. And if you don't do something about that, why would you not be another statistic? If you're in your 40s or 50s like me, 60s, why would you not have a heart attack if you've not looked at eating healthy and you've got high cholesterol, or your arteries are thickened? Why would you not? Now, it's great earning all that money and having money to support the kids, but are you present with them? Are you doing stuff with them? Are you running around, going to water parks, flying up the golf course? Are you taking action on doing things with your kids so they've actually got a great father? Or are you just earning the money and then knackered? That's reality for a lot of people. Now, if you're not around because you get ill, injured, or something happens to you, who supports the family? So take care of yourself. Start by looking at what's within. Start by doing some morning movement, as I've said. Start by getting fit and healthy and bringing your body fat levels down, because if you're overweight and you've got high blood pressure or high blood sugar, or you're borderline type 2, if you're not sleeping well, if you've got any issues with sleep apnea, if there's any things that you've got that you're taking a tablet for from your GP, it's almost always fixed with bringing your body fat down. If your hormones aren't great, bring your body fat down, they'll improve. So that's what I want you to take away from this. Now, I've shared a lot in here and I've really got nowhere with a full day of eating, but I think 40 minutes of me talking is too much for anyone. If you stayed right to the end, please drop me a message and say, I made it. Didn't fall asleep, but if you did want to use this as your nighttime ritual to help put you to sleep, let me know as well in the comments. It'd be great to hear from you. And if you want part 2 and actually see what goes on with the foods, with the breakfast, with the cardio, with the training, with a day in the life, just drop a comment and I'll get that done for you, and try not to talk as much. Have a great day and I'll see you on the journey.